Welcome to Negentropic Landscapes, a utopian community designed to challenge the binary of life and death. The design of this landscape is informed by community maps co-created by experts in death care. The prompt for the participatory workshops was to reimagine a community-led hospice model. There are two insights in particular that are prevalent in this model: the adjacencies of organized spaces and the use of nodes and paths as elements to order the community.
There are hospices that are for-profit. As our volunteer coordinator always says to us, people need to be very wary of them. They don't really follow the hospice ethos, I guess is what I'd say, because they're looking to turn a profit.
Entropy is defined as a degree of disorder. The second law of thermodynamics suggests that the net entropy of the universe will always increase as one goes forward in time. Eventually, all the universe will be reduced to a uniform boring jumble, a state of equilibrium wherein entropy is maximized. Negentropy is defined as the quantity of information that enables the structuring of physical systems by evacuating their entropy. These concepts have been extended to domains other than thermodynamics throughout history. This project takes up these principles and extends them to define the increasing disorder in our end-of-life care systems. Entropy increases without limit in a closed system. In that sense, when our health systems become closed, there is destruction of knowledge. When our healthcare systems are open, they return to knowledge, which is negentropic. Negentropy in this project suggests that collective knowledge and organizing could manage the entropy of our healthcare system. Negentropic Landscapes is a neighborhood that has collectively been avoiding the lifeless equilibrium state. All matter, living and inert, attunes to its environment to evade equilibrium. They're agents performing a computation, collecting and sorting information about an unpredictable environment and our life cycles to adapt and predict the disorders. This utopic neighborhood does not find its truth in making people stay in one place. It does not build walls, physical or symbolic, in order to hold on to its truths. It is a social system that recognizes that all matter, living and inert, is subject to a cycle of organization and decay. In this community, there are several nodes where heightened activity and interactions happen. A central river flows through the neighborhood and arranges action and movement between the nodes. Negentropic Landscapes, inhabited by a community called the Negentropics, seek an egalitarian society with equal distribution of care. Every person in the community has a role to play in the maintenance of the landscape. Older adults tend the gardens and help children maintain the nurseries. The gardens provide fruits and vegetables that are shared among residents and ancestors. Care homes are designed in opposition to the traditional nursing homes. Here, artists, students, and seniors live together. Artists work in these spaces and give lessons or performances to contribute socially. Students aid older adults by taking on household chores and errands. Land around the care homes, in proximity to the gardens, is utilized for burial pods, which get repurposed as compost.
The preventative asset and component to hospice and palliative care is, I think, the most important, because the sooner that you can have those conversations in a safe space would be beneficial, but also providing a safe space for families to go in and meet with somebody like a social worker and can sit down and actually have those conversations of, okay, what are your wishes? Let's get this down on paper. Giving them that knowledge and tools now, setting them up for a more positive experience.
High school students use the clay from the river to make cremation urns. This contribution builds a sense of empathy and cultivates positive associations to death. The schematic of the prayer house moves from social to solitary. The social space allows for communal healing, while the solitary space provides support for letting go. This space aids the residents in anticipating and acclimating to death as part of life.
We're not very good at predicting when people are going to die. And I've certainly said some patients, I've actually had it, fortunately not too often, but I've had patients who come to me and say, I want to be on hospice. And I look at their history and I examine them and I say, I don't think you're eligible because, it has to be within 6 months that we think you're going to die. And I say, I don't think you're going to die in 6 months. And they're dead in 2 weeks. I was wrong.
Death parlors are designed to provide advanced death planning resources, where residents can virtually experience what happens on the day they die. The design of the space itself is welcoming and encourages residents to practice preparatory care.
For a long time, childbirth was very medicalized. A doctor would come in full scrubs, and often many of the deliveries were done under anesthesia. Most deliveries were done with forceps, and it was a very medicalized procedure. But then there was a movement in the 60s and 70s, and it was a cultural revolution of people reclaiming the natural process of birth. We haven't necessarily have that in the end of life.
Crematory care ensures that the departed's body is handled with solemnity during the cremation. Families can observe the process and even participate if they like. The cremation begins with dead doulas and the family washing the body together in a bath surrounded by open space, high ceilings, and the deceased's favorite music playing in the background. Bodies are then escorted into the crematory. Water from the bath is directed to the plants. Grief care is the green space that circles the cemetery. Here, families can wait and reflect on their feelings while their loved ones get cremated. After the cremation, the space also allows families to perform their own culturally relevant rituals and ceremonies to say goodbye to their loved ones. In Negentropic Landscapes, structures serve to both practically and symbolically deal with the processes of dying. They are designed not to confine people's choices in the name of safety, but to expand them in the name of living a worthwhile life. Spaces are open to constant revisitations and reconstructions to their identities and future, based on acceptance and openness rather than rejection and blind allegiance to the status quo.